HR 6747, red flag laws going national, on today's AK show. So the red flag laws are just exactly that, another red flag to gun owners to watch out and read between the lines and see what's actually going on here, although most of us actually do. It's the ignorant liberals proposing this nonsense, or actually the ones who are following it, that are our nemesis and our problem. You see, the people who are proposing this, I don't think, can actually be this stupid. These laws are proposed by people who know what they're doing. This is nothing but an attempt to dismantle our Constitution. This virus, as you saw in our prior videos, started on the west coast of the United States, of course in California, making its way to Washington and then Oregon. And now, the feds think this is such a fantastic idea, they're dangling money out before the states if they enact a red flag law. So if your state doesn't already have a red flag law, the federal government is going, come on, enact one and we'll give you some money. That's what HR 6747 is all about. And here we're here today on the AK show to discuss what the government is requiring from the states in a red flag law. Unlike the country music singers and the actors and actresses in Hollywood, I actually know what I'm talking about because I'm an attorney with over 20 years of experience. I live and I breathe these laws every day, and I, unlike them, am not speaking in theories and emotions and things that, oh, could we please get rid of guns and do something that's going to save the children, save people from hurting themselves and others. I know that we already have a system to take guns away from people without violating their right to due process, because I used it. For the first 10 years of my career, I was in court each and every day in the criminal justice system. I know this may be a shock to you, but I actually represented the government, the state, in going forward and prosecuting criminals and in taking rights away from people who were mentally ill to protect them and to protect society. Every state in this country already has a set of laws that allow law enforcement to take away firearms from people by civilly committing them. But currently, they have to do it by validly following the other protections in our Constitution, mainly the right that Americans have to due process of the laws. In other words, if somebody accuses you of a crime, or if somebody wants to deprive you of life, liberty, or property, you have the right to go to court and tell the judge your side of the story before that ever happens. And what red flag laws are doing is saying a family member, and family, folks, includes a spouse. A spouse includes people that are engaged in a dissolution process. Can you imagine being involved in a custody battle and your soon-to-be vile ex-spouse goes to court to convince a judge that you are depressed, that you've been seeing a counselor, that you are on medication, and that your ex or soon-to-be ex is afraid you may harm yourself or others, and your guns are taken away? What if that spouse is an abuser? So what's even worse is that this law that is being proposed in Congress, the HR 6747, should not be used. The state laws that already exist are the laws should be used, not only because they afford people the protections they deserve under the Constitution of the United States, but also because if you use the currently proposed HR 6747 method, the person doesn't even get their guns taken away. So in other words, your family members can go to court, convince a judge that you're a danger to yourself or others, and your guns that you currently have aren't taken away. This law says when someone goes to court ex parte, which means without the other side, without the other person being able to come forward, and just says, Judge, this person is scaring me, I think they're going to hurt themselves, I think they might hurt another person. The judge doesn't have the right under this proposed law to take the firearms away that the person already has. All the judge can do at that point is say, you can't get any more guns, and you can't transport the guns that you have in public. Why would anyone choose to follow this law instead of using the mechanism that we already have in place where the person's completely separated from any guns? So hear this. And share this with people who don't know any better, and they are blindly following the feel-good emotional crap being spewed by the people who want to simply take our guns away. Red flag laws have absolutely nothing to do with protecting people, saving lives, preventing suicide, or preventing homicide. They have everything to do with dismantling our Constitution step by step. This isn't just about gun control, folks. This is about due process of the laws. So when I was a prosecutor, not only was I involved in civilly committing the mentally ill, but I also prosecuted criminals. Of course, that's what prosecutors do, right? And I would prosecute homicides, and I would deal with the victims of crime, their families. Those victims often were heartbroken if they had lost a loved one. They would seek counseling. They would go on medication. They would be depressed. Are we going to allow family members to take guns away from people like that? People get depressed and go to counseling and take medications that affect their mental status every day. It doesn't mean that that person is not able to defend their own lives. Okay, so let's talk about the burden of proof here for a minute in this HR 6747, because in order for a judge to take guns away from someone based on the testimony of a family member, that family member only has to prove by what's called a preponderance of the evidence. That is the lowest burden of proof. It's more likely than not that the person may be a danger to themselves or others. And if the family member proves that to the court, and this happens all the time with restraining orders, one person goes to court, the other person doesn't even know it, tells their side of the story to the judge, and boom, most abused piece of paper in the criminal justice system. That's what we're looking at with these red flag laws as well. Someone can go to court, tell their side of the story. If the judge is at all considering, it's more likely than not that the person may have a mental illness and may be a danger to themselves or others. The judge can issue an order that says that person cannot transport firearms in public and cannot receive any new firearms. And again, the stupidity of this law is that it's not even going to take away the guns that the person may already have. The government can't do that under this law the way it's written right now. The person gets to keep all the guns they have. Why would someone do that if they actually believe that person is mentally ill, is going to kill themselves or kill other human beings? Why would we use a red flag law that doesn't take away their guns when we have state laws that allow the government to step in and civilly commit that person, hold them for 72 hours, give them a hearing, let them tell their side of the story, and completely separate them from the firearms that are supposedly so darn dangerous? In order for the government to permanently take someone's guns away under HR 6747, the person going to court and the state are going to have to prove by clear and convincing evidence. That's a high burden of proof. That's the burden of proof that it should be, that the person is a danger to themselves or others. And if that burden is met, now the government can finally take away the guns that the person has in their possession. And the government can do that for up to a year. And then it can be renewed for up to 3 years. And of course, there is a federal government proverbial carrot, money. If states comply with this, they will get some federal dollars. So here are the liberals in Congress hanging out, dangling a little carrot to the state governments. Come on, get some money, take away the Constitution. I'm going to link my prior video about the history of red flag laws below. It goes into a little more detail about the options that we have and the states that started this whole bunch of. Thanks for watching The AK Show. This is Alex AK Kincaid, and thank you for watching The AK Show.